Abraham, I'm so grateful to you all for coming forth to teach us. And Jerry, to you and Esther, thank you for devoting your lives to bringing it to us.
We're all having a good time, and you know that if you weren't asking, we wouldn't be here answering. In other words, it is your asking that makes this happen. So you are the one.
Abraham, I want to talk to you about fear. I was diagnosed with an illness, manic depression, so I can actually go from one end of your emotional scale to the other very quickly. But I want to stop taking...
Do you know what that means? When you've been diagnosed manic depressive and you, as you say, can go from one end of the scale to the other, do you know what that means? That is an enormous compliment to your ability to focus. It also speaks to the power of the wanting that you were born with and your early discovering on it because of the contrasting life that you lived. Because when you have powerful only when there is powerful focused wanting do you have that diagnosis ever. So that's 2 compliments.
Abraham, I want to stop taking medicine. And
well, we think that's a fine idea eventually, but we will interrupt you only briefly and then we will let you speak. We would continue the medicine in the action part of the journey for now. In other words, we would say, I've got this silly label and I take this helpful medicine. That's my action journey. And I can be irritated about it or I can be happy about it. I can feel appreciation for the balance that it provides, or I can feel irritation for the numbing effect that it has. But in other words, you have a choice about how you feel about it. But you're beginning to get the sense, as we're talking to a lot of different people about these concurrent journeys, that we never recommend abruptly changing your action. Instead, we encourage maintaining your action for a sense of stability while you work on changing the way you feel about it. And once you've lined up vibrationally, then the action is easy to change. But you must tend to the vibration first. Don't tend to the action first.
I have 2 things about that. The first is, I'm not sure I really want stability. I'm not sure that that's my goal. Stability looks kind of boring to me.
Well, it is boring, but you can go from stability to ecstasy easier than you can go from agony to ecstasy. You really can. In other words, from that stable place, you have a much higher probability of achieving the better feeling emotions on the emotional scale than from a place of instability. So we would go for stability and see it as a stopping off point. You hear us, we don't encourage peacefulness. We're not encouraging peacefulness, we're encouraging passion. But we would certainly rather see you be peaceful than fearful. Because peaceful is on the way to the passion that you seek.
Wanting to stop taking any kind of medicine makes me, whenever I say I don't need it, and then it's bedtime and I look at the bottle and I take it because
but hear what you're doing though. You're taking the action before you've found the alignment. You see.
But it seems as if it's a triumph of fear over faith every time I take a pill.
Because
I don't want to take it, and I think that I can be well without it, or even not believe in the diagnosis. And then I say, oh, I don't need that. And then I think, ooh, the ultimate separation is being in a lock-up psych ward.
All right, so now So that thought is a real thought, and it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's a vibrational match to something that you're feeling. And that's a very fearful thought. And so what we're suggesting is, as you have that thought and you talk here's the thing that we really want you to hear. Now just stay with us, because this is the answer that you're looking for, and it's a method that will serve you really well. This is the way we would play it if we were standing in your physical shoes. So we'd come to that place where we're getting ready to go to bed and it's time to take the pill. And we don't want to take the pill because we'd like to be strong without it. But the thought of not taking the pill and where that might lead is the worst of the two possibilities. And so we'd take the pill. And then that's the action journey. And then, having taken the pill, we would then deliberately move up the emotional scale from that fear to a place of anger or frustration. And we'll do that with you here in just a moment. And then the next night, we'd do the same thing. The next night, we'd come to that place and we'd take the pill again, because that's the action journey that we've decided we're going to stabilize. But while we're taking the pill, we're not settling for the fear that this action is overcoming. We are using our effort at focusing to move up the emotional scale. So each night we're taking the action that is one thing and we're moving up the emotional scale, which is another thing. Until one night, not so very far from now, you're going to be in that place where it's time to take the pill. Only now it won't feel like fear. It will feel like frustration, but still you'll take the pill, and then you'll move from frustration into something that is lighter frustration. And then the next night you'll be at that same place and you'll take the pill, and then you will move up the emotional scale again, until not so very many nights will pass before you will actually realize that you're no longer feeling fear. So now you're taking the pill because you said you would, or because you are appreciating the benefit that it's giving you, but you're not using this action to try to quell the fear, because the fear has been quelled by your deliberate attempt at moving up the emotional scale. And now you have two real things going. Now you're in vibrational balance, you're no longer afraid, and now the idea of not taking the pill doesn't put you into this dramatic tailspin, because you've dealt with that aside from that. It was a separate issue. You see what we're getting at? And so now you might say, well, I think that I can start diminishing my involvement with this pill. And so you say, tonight I'm not going to take the pill. Now you're standing in a new place. Now think about how that felt. So you took the pill and you felt afraid, and you took the pill and you felt less afraid, and you took the pill and you felt frustration, and you took the pill and you felt sort of peaceful about it. And now you're standing in a new vibrational place and you say, I think I'm not going to take the pill. Now this new action is going to rendezvous with your emotional scale in a new way, because you stabilized by taking the pill and moving up the scale. Now you're considering maybe sort of kind of not taking the pill, and now you're going to have a different emotional response to that different decision. And so when you say, all right, I've decided I'm not going to take the pill, now you might feel some of that fear beginning to rise within you. But now whether you take the pill or not is a non-issue. It's dealing with that fear that has risen. So now you're still going to take the pill. You're just talking about not taking the pill. But now you're talking about not taking the pill. The fear factor has risen again, where it had kind of gone to bed earlier. And now you're talking yourself up the emotional scale, and you bring yourself to a place of feeling sort of peaceful about the idea of no longer taking the pill. And then one night, a week or two or three later, as you've been continuing this progression, you say, all right, now I've really decided that every other night I'm not going to take the pill. And it won't be tonight, but it will be tomorrow night. And just about the idea of not taking the pill tomorrow night makes you feel a little fearful, but you talk yourself out of it. And now tomorrow night comes and you say, well, this is the night I've decided that I'm going to skip taking the pill. And the fear comes up, but now you notice that the fear is not nearly as great as it once was. It's manageable. Well, you might work for that 5 or 10 minutes that you're sitting at the end of your bed trying to decide whether you're going to take the pill. You might work yourself trying to feel better, and you might not be able to make yourself feel better. Then take the pill. And then say, tomorrow night may be the first night that I use as the night that I skip. And then tomorrow night you say, tonight I'm not going to take the pill. And when you move so easily from that fluttering fear into that place of feeling sort of secure about it, you say, I actually think I feel good enough not to do it. So you don't take the pill. You lay in your bed. You haven't taken the pill. You still could take the pill, but you would rather deal with it vibrationally rather than getting up. So you say, well, if I can't settle down and really be at one with this before I go to sleep, I'll get up and take the pill. It's right there, no big thing. But if I can drift off to sleep in a sort of feeling of peacefulness, well, then I'll do that. And darned if you don't do that. And now you have a whole new vantage point. Now that fear, so the next day you get up, you don't feel so different than usual. In other words, you don't feel any instability. If you do feel some instability coming, you're dealing with it not with the pill, you're dealing with it by coming up the emotional scale. You see, you keep wanting the freedom from the pill, but what you're really wanting is the freedom from the negative emotion that you can only quell with the pill. You see what we're getting at? So we would not give up our lifeboat until we were sure we could swim. And we would not give up our lifeboat until we were sure that we could swim as far as we need to swim. In other words, there's no reason to test yourself. It's all for your perfect comfort. When Jerry and Esther snorkel, Esther always wears a wet belt. She likes Jerry to wear one too. It's fun to watch him try to dive. But it's just a more comfortable experience. In other words, they're not showing off. It's just a more comfortable experience. And so when you think of it in those terms, then before long, you're doing everything for your personal comfort. And the pill in time is not a demon that is pointing out your inadequacies. It's a friend that you're sort of using as a temporary lifeboat that you're not always going to need because you're getting close to shore. You're learning how to swim, you see. You really have to separate the reality of what is and call it the action journey, taking the pill or not taking the pill. And then how I feel about it is a whole other thing. And when you've dealt with how you feel about it, then whether you take it or not becomes irrelevant in time. So just practice it and be easy about it, and don't try to do it all at once. And take the pill or don't take the pill. Don't worry about the pill, but for now, take the pill. And when you don't feel like taking the pill, don't take the pill. And then if you feel like taking the pill, take the pill. But don't let the pill be some badge that you wear that says, this is the pill of inadequacy, or this is the pill of weakness, or this is a pill that I shouldn't need to be taking, and if I don't take it, I turn into an uncontrollable monster. None of that is true, you see. This is a helpful pill that for now you are really appreciating more than not appreciating it. And in time it will seem like a helpful pill but not a necessary pill. And then in time it will seem like a pill that you once benefited from. And then in time it will seem like a pill that is a non-issue. And in time we won't be having this conversation at all. In time you won't even remember this part of your life, even though it has been a while, you say. Good.
Thank you, Abraham.
Yes, indeed.